Here we have Hyskore's 30022 parallax sighting rest, and we're going to show you how to use this guy to get yourself zeroed right on the money in just as little as 3 shots. To get this show on the road, we need a couple extra things here. Number one, we need eyes, ears, and we need a small screwdriver for adjusting our scope. Downrange, we need a target, and we need a really good target stand. And for this, we're using Hyskore's number 30291 Target Hound. Before we take this any further, we need to remove the scope caps. Now we see we don't need that little screwdriver because these scope adjustments can be done simply by hand. Those were our 5 fouling shots. Now the barrel and the action are up to ambient. Now comes the part where we actually zero the rifle. Alright, here's what we got. And take a look at that group. Obviously there's something going on with the gun or the ammo. It certainly can't be the shooter. But now we have to go back and adjust the scope so we can get point of impact and point of aim exactly the same. Now that we finished shooting our group, the very next thing we do is unload the gun and reconfigure the rest. From this point on, the gun remains unloaded until we shoot our final group to prove that we're right on. Alrighty, now what we're going to do is we're going to put our V-notch forward here. We're going to move our center pillar rest a little bit forward too, and we're going to have the rest set up just like this. Now we got our rest pretty well set up how we want it. We put our gun in the rest like this. Alright, and then we're going to use the clamps on the vise to clamp the gun in place. Now keep in mind, the gun is unloaded through this whole process. You never ever fire the gun when it's clamped in the vise. If you're using a sight and see type target like we have here, you don't have to run back and forth. But if you're shooting a regular paper target, you might want to have a marker with you so that you can mark the center of the group you just fired. There are various ways you can adjust the elevation. You can use the adjustments on the V-notch, which give you quite a bit of range, or you can simply use the elevators to bring up the rear of the rest, the front of the rest, or bring them down so that you can get your sights aligned perfectly. Okay, now I got the gun leveled up in the rest. I put the scope and I put the crosshairs dead center on the group that I just fired. The next step is really simple because elevation-wise we're good. All I have to do is take the windage and turn the windage knob while I'm watching through the scope, and I just walk the crosshairs over right to the dead center of the bullseye, and then I am sighted in. I got the point of impact and point of aim exactly the same. Once again, for safety's sake, you never ever fire the gun when it's clamped in the rest. When it's clamped in the rest, the gun should always be unloaded, otherwise it can result in damage to the weapon and also damage to the shooter. Alrighty, once again we collapse segments of our rest, put them together so that we have a shooting support platform. Alrighty, now we're going to take a few shots and see just how well we did. Alrighty, here we go. That's the final result. It doesn't get much better than that. And I gotta tell you, and you'll probably agree, this is a hell of a lot better than shooting to the 4 corners of the target, trying to figure out where you're at, and then using 2 or 3 boxes of ammo to get yourself where you need to be. Basically, the only thing left to do is to adjust elevation for various ranges.